All right, what's good, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that like button right now. Also, hit that bell notification button so you'll be alerted whenever I drop new content. And follow me on Twitter, on Instagram at BoxingWave10. All right. Speaking of that, Instagram. Every once in a while, I post little clips of film study that I do. All right, so just early this morning, I posted some clips of previous fights of the two fighters, Devin Haney and Jorge Linares. Every once in a while, I'll do it. I'm gonna start doing it more. I feel more comfortable with doing it on Instagram because I don't want to get flagged or striked or anything, so I can edit it the way I want to. But always gonna be short little clips. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram at BoxingWave10. I'll probably start doing it more on a weekly basis now. I'm going to try to stick to doing it whenever I do a breakdown for a fight because I am watching film study throughout the week leading up to a breakdown. So I might as well post some of the things that I come across when I'm analyzing a fight. All right. So be on the lookout for that. All right. So let's get into it. Devin Haney is finally going to get tested for real against Jorge Linares this weekend. It's going to be Saturday night on DAZN, 8 p.m. Eastern, all right? I'm not sure how much of the undercard are they going to show. I don't know if they're going to show the full undercard before 8 p.m., but I probably won't be on to maybe around 7 p.m., 7:30. I'll definitely cover the fight live. Also, we have the Donaire against Ubali fight that's going to be on Showtime. Like I said the other day on the live video that I did, hopefully they don't overlap each other, but if they do, the priority will be Devin Haney against Jorge Linares, all right? But I will cover the other card as well, just as long as the Ubali fight is not happening at the same time as the Haney fight, all right? So I'll be here Saturday, so be tuned and make sure you check me out. All right, so let's talk about this fight. Haney's finally going to get tested. Okay, for real. And I'm looking forward to it because I respect Linares. Very, very, very experienced fighter. Okay. Yes, he's a little past his prime. He's taken his losses. But he's still a very, very, very good boxer and very dangerous boxer. Very quick hands, good power, and a ton of experience. All right. So he's still, to me, one of the top guys at 135. Again, losing a Lomachenko at 135 is not that big of a deal. All right. I know he lost after that, moving up to 140. But I think with Linares, I think he's one of those guys, because this is not the first time it happened. All right. He lost back in the day against Antonio DeMarco. All right. Went to war with Antonio DeMarco, where, at that time, Linares was having a good run, all right, and he was one of the top guys at the division at that time. And DeMarco, who was at his A game at that time, too, Linares was outboxing him for the whole fight, for the most part, and he was stopped. Ended up turning into a war, a fight that favored Antonio DeMarco. All right, and Linares just was stopped late in that fight. Took a lot of punishment in that fight. And Linares went on to lose his very next fight against Sergio Thompson. I believe it was the next fight, either the next fight or the fight after. I'm not sure. But he ended up losing to a guy named Sergio Thompson who was supposed to be like a tune-up fight, And it was one of those early second round knockout losses that he suffered. All right, and we'll talk more about that. But he has his share of losses, all right? Then he went on a nice, good run, won a title at 135, defended it a good amount of times against Anthony Crolla, guys like Luke Campbell, all right? Luke was on top of his game at the time that he lost to Jorge Linares, all right? But he beat him, and then he eventually loses to Lomachenko, which was a big test for Lomachenko when he moved up to 135. Huge test for Lomachenko. At that time, I believe that Linares was probably his most dangerous opponent at that time. You know, this is before the Teofimo Lopez fight. All right. And then Linares went on to lose a couple fights later, again, moving up to 140 to Cesar Cano, all right, and who was a puncher at 140. And Linares was stopped in the first round. Okay. Since then, he's picked up a couple wins. He beat Carlos Molina, who was a guy that gave Ryan Garcia hell. A lot of people feel that Ryan Garcia got a gift win in that fight. All right. Morales, who is a pretty good boxer, orthodox boxer, was able to hurt Ryan Garcia bad in that fight. All right. And I'll box him for a certain amount of rounds, all right? I don't remember how I scored that fight, but I remember that being the first fight where Ryan was really tested and he almost was stopped at one point, okay? So Linares was able to go in there with Carlos Molina and stop him, all right? And it was a pretty good performance against a pretty decent boxer. And now we're here, all right? Haney, who is undefeated, young, one of the top young fighters in the game, in one of the most crowded divisions in the sport right now. One of the most talked about divisions in the sport right now. You got all these guys at 135. Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, who is taking a little break from boxing right now, but we should see him back at some point. Okay? You got Lomachenko, Tio, all these guys. Even have Tank around, you know, he's around. And then you have the other guys like the Luke Campbells, like the Javier Fortunas, like the Jorge Linares of the world. Okay? So there's a lot of competition at 135, and we're kind of having a little bit of a tournament right now, which I've expressed in other videos. All right, but you got Devin Haney, who is the Super WBC champion. We know all the controversy behind that because of the title. You know, who is the real champion of the WBC right now? We don't really know because Tio holds the franchise title, which he won from Lomachenko. It was already franchised before Tio got it. All right. And then Devin was awarded the WBC Super Championship, all right, when Lomachenko won it against Luke Campbell. So there's a whole bunch of controversy, and that is what is keeping Teofimo from officially being undisputed because of that decision that Lomachenko made by becoming franchise champion. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but Devin Haney, undefeated, coming off of a win against Yuriokis Gamboa. He has a win over Santana. It was a guy that was kind of unknown at the time, but he was actually better than expected, you know. And then I think the first real test for Haney was against Abdullayev, who was an undefeated Eastern European fighter, I believe. All right, at that time, but which Haney was able to dominate. Now, doing a film study, first glance, one thing that separates the two of these guys outside of age and experience and stuff like that. The two things, because offensively, both of them they have a lot to offer. Offensively, they both can do a lot. They both are extremely fast. They both throw great combinations. They both are extremely high IQ fighters. But the one thing that separates the two of them by far is defense. And Devin Haney is on a level that Jorge Linares was never on as far as defense. Linares has only been an all right guy at defense. All right, not the absolute worst, but not good at all. You know, not one of those things that you can really point out. Like, it's not one of his strengths. You know, Linares has always been, and you'll see some of the clips that I posted on my Instagram, he's always kind of been a sucker for an overhand right. In fact, you know, going back and watching his fights and the film stuff and the fights that he's lost and some of his best wins, he's probably better against southpaws, you know. Even though he lost to Lomachenko, even though he lost to Antonio DeMarco, He kind of just lost by being outworked. Took too many shots. Lomachenko stopped him with a body shot, and Antonio DeMarco stopped him with a flurry of punches, both southpaws. Luke Campbell gave him some good work too, even though he dropped and really hurt Luke early in that fight. Luke was able to secure a lot of the remaining rounds by outworking him later on in the fight, right? But those other losses that he has, the ones that everyone keeps bringing up, those big bad KOs that he has, always was against orthodox fighters that drew huge overhand rights. All right, that for whatever reason, Linares just can't get out of the way from. You know, and Haney coming into this fight, not really considered to be a huge puncher, right? He's just not, at least not at this stage. All right, we might see more of it in this fight here, but at this point in his stage, he's not really considered to be a huge puncher. Similar to like Shakur Stevenson, amazing defensive fighter, great technique and everything, great punch variations, combinations, can really pretty much do it all. But isn't really known for his power. All right. And it's the same with Devin Haney. I think Haney probably has a little bit more. He is the naturally bigger guy, and he does have some stoppages under his belt. He stopped Moran not too long ago. He stopped Abdulayev not too long ago. He was able to drop Santiago. So the power is there. I think people are disappointed he didn't stop Gamboa, but he's not a powerless fighter. He's not a feather-fisted fighter. All right. Going to that Gamboa fight, by the way, and let's speak on that real quick, because I did go back and watch some of it while I was doing my film study, and I noticed that after watching it again, and I do remember doing live commentary, it was a very boring fight. It was a fight that I was kind of dozing off on, and after watching the majority of it the other day, I realized that I have to really put a lot of blame towards Gamboa. I mean, none of us really wanted the fight to begin with because Gamboa is far, far past his prime. And at that time, he was going to be 39 years of age. But Gamboa, guy that lost his legs, doesn't have that speed and explosiveness that he was known for at that time. Gamboa was using his experience and his survival tactics in that fight, where he was kind of smothering Devin Haney. Okay, Haney couldn't get a lot of shots off, and I think that was part of the problem. Haney did hit him with some big shots, but Gamboa did take it, But other than that, Gamboa did a lot of smothering where he just wanted to survive. He wasn't trying to win the fight. He just didn't want to get knocked out. And sometimes when that happens, Devin offensively just couldn't get off because he was still, naturally, he's a defensive fighter. He's very cautious. So he's still being cautious, but he's letting his hands go. But it wasn't enough to where he could really get a real clean, hard shot against Gamboa to put him away. And Gamboa, not for nothing, he is chinny, but I wouldn't say he has a glass jaw. Like, I think Amir Khan is a glass jaw guy. Like, you can knock him out with one punch, whereas Gamboa is like one of those guys that we seen him get knocked down over and over and over again in certain fights, or get rocked and he's dizzy and he's wobbling around, he's trying to stay up, or he gets knocked down, he jumps back up real quick. Gamboa is a guy that he's chinny, but he's never really been knocked cleaned out before. He's always just been kind of stopped. So he'll continue fighting if you let him. He'll always get back up. That's what I'm saying. So not that bad of a chin. He was, like I said, he was using old school tactics to keep himself in a fight. He definitely got shut out. He didn't win any rounds. I think he might have had one round when he had a little success. But Devin Haney outboxed him better than Tank Davis did. Even Tank Davis, and even though he stopped him late, Tank Davis didn't really put him away, like we expected, because Gamboa, seasoned guy, just knows how to survive. All right. And he's been doing that for quite some time now. All right. So I think going in this fight here, keys to victory to me, Devin Haney, the younger guy, great conditioning, great punch variations, great setups, great combos, defensive. Haney needs to do what he does best. He needs to be in and out. He can fight long distance all night long. And he's probably the most agile fighter, one of the most agile fighters in the sport. Definitely in the division. All right. Very, very light on his feet. Moves extremely well, knows how to use the ring well. But he doesn't overdo it. Okay. And we need that here. Because the thing about Jorge Linares is his most dangerous shots, his most powerful shots are those sneaky short shots that he lands in the middle of exchanges. Yes, he puts himself in danger when he does it because I've seen him get countered. But Jorge is very dangerous with those short shots. He loves to throw the right hand and follow it up with a left hook. That's probably his favorite combination to throw. All right? But you have to be close. They're short, they're quick, they're powerful. And Devin Haney needs to be in and out. And like I said, he has good defense, even on the inside. Doesn't have much of an inside game as far as like on the offense. He's not really the type of guy that we would expect to see him being like a phone booth type of fight. You know? He's more of an in and out kind of guy. Like he jumps in, boom, 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 and steps right out. All right? But he always keeps that phone up. You know what I'm saying? He likes to roll punches with his left shoulder. He likes to keep that guard up in the middle of when he's throwing his hook and exchanging. He likes to keep it tight. You know, he's really good on that. So I expect him to do well when it comes to that. But being that I've never seen him really get hit hard by a puncher or a guy that's as fast as Jorge Linares, we'll see here. You know, if he's definitely the goods, he might get clipped. Would he eat the shot? He might eat the shot. Take it well, take it on the chin, and keep it moving. Or if he is chinny, which we don't know yet, how is he going to take the shot? Is he going to go down? It might be one of those fights where he may go down early, like Ryan Garcia did, you know, like Luke Campbell did against Jorge Linares. All right, so it might be one of those situations, or is, you know, Devin Haney's gonna just slip all of those shots, you know, and counter him, which is something else that he can do because he is a guy that's great at throwing those short shots on the inside too. All right, but he's just real quick with it. He doesn't stay in the pocket. He's in and out, and that's where he needs to be because he has those long arms. He needs to be on the outside, all right? Setting up shots with the jabs, feinting, winging those wide shots to the body, all right? He's very good at that. And just continuously getting Jorge Linares different looks. You know, he's the more athletic fighter here. You know, Jorge is athletic. He is very, very fast, and he moves well as well. He pivots well. But for the most part, he's not as agile as a Devin Haney is. Haney is on a different level. He's better at this defense. He's got sharper reflexes. He's younger. He's good at bending at the waist and changing levels and moving around real good. He's good at all of that. He can do all that and be on attack. All right. The only thing is he doesn't have big power, but he probably has enough power to hurt Jorge Linares, who doesn't have the greatest chin. He just doesn't. You know, Jorge, on the other hand, first of all, first thing he needs to do here is be extremely aware and defensive early. All right, because we seen him knocked out in the first round. We seen him knocked out in the second round. All right, but guys with big overhand rights. All right, Devin Haney can deliver that right hand if Jorge Linares is half asleep in the first couple rounds. All right, so he needs to be sharp on point early. Let the fight ride out some. Once he gets into a good rhythm, you know, try to catch Haney as he's stepping in with one of those counters. That's when he's at that same shot that I was talking about, those short shots. That's what he needs to try to catch Haney and catch him right on the chin with that. You know, that would be his best shot at trying to get a knockdown here. Other than that, work behind his jab, keep that jab out there, shoot those 1-2s that he's great at, and we know that he's good at doing. All right, try to. You got to try to catch Haney. He's so quick and agile, but if you can time him right as he's stepping in to use those counters, Haney is a good defensive fighter, but he still get hit at times. So you got to catch the kid when he's coming in and try to work his combination. You got to catch him in the middle of those exchanges, and Jorge Linares is definitely quick enough to do that, because even though Haney is extremely fast, Jorge Linares is very fast as well, and he usually has the speed advantage over most of his opponents. All right, but he has to work, and then he also has to work the body as well. You know, work the body. You know, if Haney's gonna be moving around, keep tagging him to that body. You know, slow this kid down. He's a younger fighter. He's a guy that likes to move in and out. We want him to stay at one's place. We don't want him doing all this moving. So work that body. You know, slow him down a little bit. He's the young guy. You the older man. Slow him down, because Devin Haney is going to be trying to do that to you. So that's what Linares has to do. They both can do many of the same things well. All right. It's just that I think there's a difference in obviously age and experience, but the defense, you have to give that to Haney, which is a huge, huge advantage. The way I see it, and this is my prediction, I think this is a great test for Haney and everything. And I think Linares still has some left in the tank. But just in his history, seeing how he lost, I expect Haney to win. And I expect Haney to get a knockout here. What's his name? Linares is not no guy that's just trying to survive like a Gamboa. All right, he's not that type of guy. Linares is in here to try to win the fight and trying to remain relevant at 135. All right, he's a boxer, he's an attacker, and I think because of that, he's gonna leave himself open at some point in this fight, and Haney's gonna hurt him. But I don't think it's gonna be the first shot or the second shots. I think as the fight goes on, at some point, Haney's gonna land a big, huge overhand right and put him down. And if it's not that, he's gonna catch Linares in the counter, in the exchange. Same way that Linares can catch him, but I think Haney is going to catch him with an uppercut on the inside as Linares steps in. Sometimes he steps in and he's there for a little too long. He's not as agile as Haney. He doesn't have the reflexes to get out of the way of some of those shots like the way Haney does. So I think at some point, Linares is either going to walk into an uppercut and catch one, or he's going to catch one from the outside, a big overhand right from the outside, and Haney is going to finish him off. So I have Haney winning by stoppage in a very good test and a very good fight leading up to that point. It could be early, it could be late. But for Linares' sake, he needs to be very careful early on. If Haney is not as good as a lot of people believe, because a lot of people think he's still too green, he hasn't been tested, all right, he probably has a weak chin. This is all the things that I've read all the time and hear, all the videos I've done on Devin Haney. If he isn't that good, all right, he will be exposed this Saturday, because Linares is a type of guy that could expose you because he's such a good boxer. But I'm picking Haney to win by stoppage, and not because Linares is just done, but because I believe Haney is just better than him, period. All right, so that's my prediction. Remember, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button if you haven't already. Smash that like button, and also hit me on IG, Twitter, all of that at BoxingWave 10. Thank you for the donations too as well. And I'll see you on the next breakdown, which I have to do on Ubali and Donaire. I'm not really sure. I haven't done any film study yet because I've been doing everything on this fight this past week. But I'll see you on the next one, and I'll definitely see you guys Saturday to do live fight commentary for this fight. All right, peace.